Alright, so before we dive into actually working in brioche, I wanted to give you guys a few tips or just a little bit of information on how brioche works to help make it a little bit easier to work. So you typically have a right side, also called a light side, because your light colored yarn is prominent on this side, and on your wrong side, your dark colored yarn is prominent. So in brioche, every row is worked twice. So you work it once in your light color. You always work the light color first, and then you work the dark color. So basically your light color is color A, you work it first, you slide back to the beginning, and then you work your color B or your dark color. And then once you reach the end of that, then you can turn your work. And even though you're on the wrong side and the dark color is prominent, you're still going to start with the light color. So every single row, no matter if it's right side, wrong side, light side, dark side, you will start with the light colored yarn, and then you will slide back and you will do it again with the dark colored yarn. So after you've done a few rows, you'll start to get the hang of it. But I think what helps without having to read the instructions is once you've had a little bit of practice, every time you are on a right side row, when you work color A, you will knit the first and last stitches of the row. And then you'll work a slip one yarn over, brioche knit, slip one yarn over, brioche knit. You always work a brioche knit with color A when you're on the right side. So every time that the light color is prominent, that is when you're going to be brioche knitting with that color. So when you're working in your color A, you'll be brioche knitting, alternating with slip one yarn overs, except for the first and last stitches, which will be knit stitches. So that means when you're on a right side row and you're working color B, you will be working brioche purls. Because that color is not dominant, you will be brioche purling. However, when you're done with that and you go to the wrong side, you still start out by doing color A, and you are going to purl the first and last stitches of that row, and you will alternate brioche purl and slip one yarn overs. So because color A, or your light color, is not dominant, you'll be brioche purling with color A. When you slide back to the beginning and you're working in your second color, because this is dominant on this side, you'll be brioche knitting with your dark color. So start out with a slip one, you're going to slip that first stitch and the last stitch, and then you're just going to brioche knit alternating with slip one yarn overs across. So I find it's helpful to remember this. When every time you're on a right side row and your yellow is dominant, you're going to be brioche knitting, and that means you're also going to knit the first and last stitches of your row, just normally, and then brioche knit everything in between. And on the wrong side, with the dark color being prominent, when you're working the dark color row, you will brioche knit. So you brioche knit in the color that is dominant, and you brioche purl in the color that is not dominant on that side. So I hope that makes sense. But if you've never done brioche before, trust me, this will help you later on. It may not make much sense right now, but after you start working in brioche, it will help.